Rebecca Black is still active, as it turns out. Susie, she's still active. She currently uploads videos on her YouTube channel about various topics. She has released 2 independent extended plays. But see, she has been 110% unseated as the worst song on YouTube. Because she got replaced by, what's her name? The girl who did the video in the church. Hang on. I think, what was Sarah something? I just looked her up on Wikipedia page. I know. 2021 present, Rebecca Black was here on January 29, 2021. Black released the song Girlfriend shortly after on February 10th, 2021. She released a hyperpop remix of Friday. She remixed Friday. Rebecca Black was here, was nominated for self-released record of the year. So she clearly is doing well for herself. She's not doing too bad. Red dress. That's it. Red dress. She's been replaced. Hang on. I'm not going to play the entire thing because I'm pretty sure like YouTube hates it when I do anything. Hold up. Red dress. Sarah Brand. That's her name. Yeah, okay, she has been replaced as like this is the new worst song on YouTube. I gotta fast forward. I can't play the whole thing, but this is like she goes from this. So bad. It's honestly probably like we actually went over on my Twitch stream. We went over this song line by line, watched the entire thing, and then we did a deep dive into Sarah Brand because we had to figure out if she was serious about this. Like we were 100% convinced by the end of it. At least I was. Maybe chat wasn't, but I was 100% convinced that this was on purpose. And it turns out that she has a sociology, or she's getting her master's in sociology, and that like she was doing some sort of experiment to like I don't know, like see the reaction that people have for bad content, you know, on the internet. And it worked because we all talked about it, and it is by far the worst song on YouTube, hands down. Red dress, the social experiment. Yes, it's a social experiment. It has to be. There's no possible way someone is that bad on purpose, with the exception of Rebecca Black. But if you look back at Rebecca Black's Friday, internet treasure. Internet treasure. 100%. Holy crap, that's horrible. I'm telling you, it was on purpose. It's gotta be. There's no possible way that this girl would create something that bad. And on top of that, how would she get all these people together who clearly weren't being paid, right? And she's doing this horrible singing, horrible music video, and none of the people around her, her friends or family, weren't like, Sarah, honey, can we have let's just talk about it for a second. Before you put this out on the internet, can we just discuss how maybe there's a lot of room for improvement first? You know, and then maybe release it. No, I'm telling you, it's a social experiment. She did it on purpose. Brilliant woman. Oh, this sucks. The guy in the pew looks scared. Dude, the video gets... Go look it up for yourselves after the stream. Red Dress by Sarah Brand. Watch the entire music video. It is... You will not get through it without cringing. At least 3 times minimum. It is a cringe fest. It is so bad. Everything about it. And that's what makes it so brilliant. Everything about it is just awkward. Even like she gets backup dancers later in, and they all look super awkward. The acting is really bad, like especially from like the guy who plays the priest. I'm tone deaf, reason I don't sing, but I heard that and I was Any news is good news, whether good or bad. Publicity, dude, Amtrue is 100% correct. Especially in the age of the internet, there is no such thing. There is no such thing as bad press. It's all good. Whatever gets your name out there. Rebecca Black got better at singing the last time I checked. I'm 100% serious. No, here's the thing. Rebecca Black was never a bad singer. Rebecca Black was a good singer. She was being coached by professionals. The only thing that made her song so bad was that it was just awkward. The lyrics were horrendous. The subject matter, I mean, not bad, but I mean, it could have been handled way better. It's just weird. It was awkward and weird, you know. And it was, and on top of that, it was supposed to be a song for like 12-year-old girls, 11, 12-year-old girls, you know. It's just bad, But now it's a national treasure. That is internet history right there, my friends. And all of this happens at a church. That's the other. It happened. Somebody. Nah, yeah. They wouldn't have let her film that at a church. That video in particular, and you'll see why later on. Like she gets a little naughty. Unless it was like some sort of social commentary experiment. It was just bubblegum and cheese all in one. Her voice was fine. Exactly. Susie nails it. Taking pointers from CNN. Friday was catchy and trash at the same time. Yeah, it was. It was. A song can be trash and catchy, but I guarantee you if you watch Red Dress, here's the funny part. You watch Red Dress, and you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. I have to show my friends. I have to. They have to see this. Next thing you know, you're in the shower, you're driving down the road or something like that, or you're just like cooking alone in a moment, you know, where you're kind of like caught off guard, and you're just sitting there going, see me in a red dress, walking on the devil's edge. And you don't even realize you're singing it until you're like, oh my God. Sometimes bad songs are good. They're so bad, they're good. They're catchy. I won't archive that trying to forget. You won't. You won't, Amtrue. You're going to remember it later, and you're going to be like, I need to watch this entire thing. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. On Monday, you're going to come back to stream and be like, I hate you. I hate you so much. Trashy! That is such a good way to put it. It's a trashy song. I just remember when they became the standard rickroll on Twitter, the good old days. Oh my God. Back when Twitter was the Wild West. That was the good times. That was the good times. Twitter is changing for the better. 100%. I think we're going to go back there. I can't wait. I can't wait personally. I haven't been intentionally trying to avoid talking about Elon Musk because I felt like I spent like 4 streams in a row just focusing on Elon Musk. And I didn't want to be like, all right, here comes another Red State stream about Elon Musk. Okay. And like so much is happening between that, but like not, I don't know. It's like, right now it's kind of like a holding pattern. Twitter employees mad, Elon Musk laughing, everyone else enjoying the show. Anticipating what's to come. What's up, Slow DK? How you doing, man? How you guys doing? How is everybody doing on this glorious Friday? I'm very happy. I'm pleased it's Friday, even though it doesn't feel like one. I feel like I'm gonna have to wake up tomorrow and go back to work. That's all right. I always kind of started. I lately, especially, like I've felt like that a lot. Like the work never ends. Maybe that's why I don't get the Sunday scaries. I don't get the Sunday scaries because I just feel like every day is Monday. We're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. I want to talk about Rand Paul, who I'm a little bit of a simp for Rand Paul. I'm not going to lie. I don't necessarily think, I mean, look, he's a politician. He's a politician. I trust him as far as I could throw him. But so far, he hasn't disappointed me greatly, you know? And recently, every time, I got to think that every single time a Democrat or some sort of expert that leans to the left is going to have a hearing and Rand Paul is going to be there, I just assume that they start taking Xanax and Tylenol because they know for a fact that Rand Paul is just going to push these people through the ringer. And your boy Rand, he completely took Alejandro Mayorkas to the wood chipper. This dude destroyed him. because we talked about this on the last stream, Mayorkas decided that he was going to have that hearing and talk about the necessity of this nonsensical bullcrap Ministry of Truth, or what he calls it, the disinformation governance board. But Rand Paul wasn't having it, and I really wanted to watch that with you guys because I have some commentary. He brings up some very good points. Also, we're going to be talking about Sony. Sony did something awesome. China told them to censor something, and Sony told them to kick rocks. And they ended up having one of the best superhero movies ever made. I want to talk about that. Also, the abortion crowd is just not having a good time. Not at all. So I figured we'll talk about that too. We're going to kick it off with this Rand Paul thing, though. I used to not like Rick Rolls, and now I'm the person who likes listening to Never Gonna Give You Up. Yeah. I will listen to that song, unironically. You gotta, dude, Rick Astley is actually a really good musician. He actually has, like, a YouTube channel now, and he posts stuff to it from time to time. Not like music videos, but just him playing the guitar and singing. And he's really good. I'm sorry that he never actually, like, I don't know if Never Gonna Give You Up was the worst thing that ever happened to him or the best, because clearly it overshadowed everything else he did in his career. And then, the funny thing is, his song is quintessential 80s, but because of that song, I don't think anybody ever took him seriously as an artist, and he is such a good artist. Well, back in my day, when you were on Mojo 50, you wouldn't shut up about Brie Larson, so we'd be used to it. Oh, did you guys see the latest Brie Larson news? Apparently, like, they've completely shoved her out of her own movie. Like, she is one of several main characters, and I think she wanted to be in the Fast and Furious movies, and people were like, nah, bro, I'm out if she's in. How bad do you have to screw up to have the Fast and Furious people be like, I'm not acting next to this person? It was hard not to beat on Cheese Larson. Good. Seriously. Brie asked for it. She did ask for it! You can't be a completely horrible person to people, both your co-actors and your audience, and then expect people to just come and prostrate themselves at your feet because you claim to be a warrior for social justice. In fact, if you proclaim yourself to be a warrior for social justice and start telling everybody that they're less because they live in a society or propagated a society where everyone is, where sexism and racism and this and bigotry and yada yada and that are all weighing down these victims in our society, then, dude, no one's going to listen to you. Everyone's going to tune out. Because you want to know a secret? The social justice community is lying. They're lying because they're making assumptions about everybody and their personalities and their lifestyle and their beliefs, and accusing them of stuff they're not guilty of. Eventually, when it first arrived on the scene, people were afraid to defy it because they didn't want to be seen as the bad guy. But eventually, like, you get figured out as the bad guy yourself. People are gonna stop listening to you. And Brie Larson is one of those people who pushed that, along with all the other social justice warriors in Hollywood that people are now turning their backs on. Mark Ruffalo, dude, is so ingrained in social justice with his head so far up his own rear that he actually started to defend pedophiles after they got shot while trying to attack a kid with a gun. Not only do they deserve a Darwin Award, they deserve to be forgotten about for the rest of their lives, for eternity, because they're dead now. They have no lives. Forget Mark Ruffalo. He makes me not want to see another Marvel movie if he is in it, period. I don't want to look at the guy. Rand, one of the good ones, definitely not Lindsey Graham. Definitely not Lindsey Graham. Oh, we have some new safety environmental board via DHS. You're the second person to mention that to me. I haven't actually seen anything about that yet. I need to look into it. He's gotten really into the fame from it. Yeah. But again, Ashley deserves it. If you're any kind of 80s fan, check out the song Rick did with NKOTB, Salt and Peppa, and En Vogue. I will have to do that. She did it to herself. Tried watching her Twitch stream. Not good. No empathy for others. Her stream was so fake. It was so fake. Just listening to it was cringy all on its own. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Do you think the American people are stupid? That line alone from Rand Paul to Mayorkas is enough to just have the entire thing canceled right there. The entire disinformation governance board. Because that's the only point that you need right there. He makes a lot more. We're gonna watch the video. He makes a lot more points. But really, that's the only one you need. Do you think the American people are stupid? Look, do I think the American people are stupid? They can be. They absolutely can be. But you know what? They get more stupid when they're not allowed to discuss things with each other and debate on equal terms. That makes people stupid. And I said this last stream. There are a lot of stupid people who vote in America, but they have, many of these people do not have a way to see arguments from the other side. They are made stupid. I should say that the correct phrase here would probably be they're made ignorant. But ignorance and stupidity are two separate things, I think. What Rand Paul is highlighting is the fact that the government with this disinformation governance board is effectively saying that you're too stupid to figure out on your own anything in particular. The government has to define what is truth for you, but as Rand Paul points out, the government can't even figure out what the truth is. It doesn't even know. Apparently, I need to watch this Rick Astley video. I would watch it on stream with you guys. I really would, but YouTube likes to punish me for even breathing out the wrong nostril. No joke. All right. Let's watch this because it's... Rand Paul in one moment. And he just collapses the entire argument for having this ministry of truth. And for dictator Mary Poppins to be a thing. Completely collapses it. I'm just going to let him speak.
Do you think the Steele dossier included Russian disinformation?
Senator, that's not a question that I'm equipped to answer.
It was in the public news. It was you may have heard of it, the Mueller investigation. It was a $32 million investigation that went over a couple of years. Horowitz was an investigator general, and he looked at the FBI's activity in the beginning of this. And what the FBI concluded was that there were FBI agents throughout this period of time who concluded that, yes, the dossier was full of Russian disinformation. So let's say it is Russian disinformation. You say your new disinformation governance board is going to help the public with disinformation. You claim it's not going to be about domestic, it's going to be about foreigners and those evil Russians. So here's my question. The FBI concludes that the Steele dossier was full of Russian disinformation. CNN propagated this disinformation gladly for years and years. The difference, I guess, between your opinion and our opinion is that as despicable as it is that CNN propagated this disinformation, I wouldn't shut them down. I wouldn't lecture them. I wouldn't put it on a government website that CNN's wrong for propagating disinformation.
God, this is why I like Rand Paul right here. He is saying, I know for a fact that CNN was lying. I know for a fact that the FBI was mistaken. They admitted it later on. But despite the fact that this actual misinformation was being circulated around, especially by CNN, I still would not shut down CNN. And I 110% agree with Paul here. If people are out there spreading lies, then allow those lies to circulate and know where they're coming from so that people in the public can weigh and measure them, find the truth, and then not only will we know the truth because of debate and investigation that happens from everyone from private citizens all the way up to mainstream journalists if they do their job, which I understand that many of them don't, but hey, every now and again, a broken clock, broken clock is right twice a day. But we also would find out, oh, well then who is really standing behind these lies, this misinformation? Because now we'll know in the future where these people's loyalties lie, what kind of things they're willing to buy into, and what types of things they're willing to sell. I want people to be able to say what they want, because I want to know who these people are, and I want to see what their arguments are. I want to see what other people's arguments are, and I want each of them to be decided upon what is good and what is bad in the public sector, in the town square. And that's one of the reasons I love Paul. He's smart enough to know sometimes you got to let people expose themselves as idiots, expose themselves as liars. You have to let that happen. I respect that.
The problem you have is you're not even willing to admit, I mean, we can't even have an agreement on what the FBI said was disinformation. How do you propose that you're going to have an office
Hi, Kira.
of disinformation governance if you see the problem in even determining what is disinformation?
Oh, Senator,
Good
because our work is not focused on disinformation writ large. Where we, the Department of Homeland Security, become involved is when there's a connectivity between disinformation and threats to the security of the homeland.
Well, that's what the Russians might be considered that. You mentioned the Russians the other day when you tried to pivot away from this being about censorship. But let's say it is the Russians. I know you're not going to ever agree that the Steele dossier, which y'all spent so much money on, was disinformation. But it was, and the FBI concluded. But let's just say there's an imaginary disinformation.
In your
You've
face.
discovered tomorrow Russian disinformation that's going to hurt our national security, and CNN's broadcasting it. What are you going to do?
Senator, let me.
You're going to tell Putin you shouldn't do this.
Senator,
what are you going to do?
That's
Senator,
the question.
Let me explain
what
we do
Okay.
in the Department of Homeland Security with respect to disinformation, and frankly, what we've been doing for nearly 10 years across different administrations. The cartels propagate disinformation that Title 42 does not apply to a particular community of migrants from a particular country.
How are they propagating this?
If I may, through social media. And what we do through U.S. Customs and Border Protection is actually communicate via social media and other channels that is false, that we do apply Title 42.
So let's say there's Russian disinformation as well. Are you going to take to social media and broadcast that people are broadcasting something incorrect about what do you think is Russian disinformation?
Senator, let me emphasize.
Well, you said the other day Russians, and now you're saying not so much the Russians, you're saying the cartels.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not, Senator. You're mischaracterizing my statement.
Then what are you going to do if there's Russian disinformation? You're going to broadcast something on social media?
Allow me to share when we become involved in the Department of Homeland Security. We become involved when disinformation poses a threat to the security of our country. It is when there's a connectivity to a threat to our country.
I'm going to pause it right there. What? I don't understand. He didn't really necessarily answer Rand Paul's question about what he's going to do. Right now, they're just saying, oh, well, if we find out what it is, then we're going to release our own information. Okay, but that's not necessarily going to stop the information from coming in. So what you're saying, though, is that you're just creating, if that is the case, let's just say that they aren't going to forcefully stop anybody, right? What they are creating at this point in time is nothing but a propaganda outlet, a propaganda department for the United States. He gives the impression that, oh, well, you know, here's an idea. The cartels say XYZ, and we will release information that says, oh, well, that's not the case. Okay, cool, but why do we need that? Why do we need that? Why not just make a statement and allow the citizen journalists, the YouTubers, the mainstream media people, why not just allow them to read your statement and spread the news? Why do you need a governance or a disinformation governance board? Why do you need it? If you're just releasing statements, it doesn't make any sense. You're creating an entire government body that is supposed to police misinformation, and all you're going to do is release statements? I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. And even if it does start like that, it's not going to end like that. Because at some point in time, it's a government body. It's going to require teeth. Teeth are going to have to be involved in order to stop this stuff. I don't believe what he's saying right now.
It could be a threat, connectivity to violence. And what this what this working group does is precisely what I would think you would want it to do, which is to take a look at the work, the disinformation work that our department has done, and ask the following questions. Do we have policies? Do we have guardrails? Do we have standards?
But here's the
to
problem.
ensure,
We can't even agree. We can't even agree what disinformation is. You can't even
also
agree
true.
that it was disinformation, that the Russians fed information to the Steele dossier. If you can't agree to that, how are we ever going to come to an agreement on what is disinformation so you can police it on social media?
Senator, I have 2 points, if I may finish. Number one, that what this office, what this working group does, because it's not an office, what this working group does,
It's not an office.
is ensure that there are
Does he mean that in, like, the
guardrails,
government sense, I guess?
definitions, standards to make sure that the free speech rights, the civil rights, civil liberties, and privacy rights of individuals
So
are not impinged.
do you think COVID disinformation threatens our national security?
And number
Exactly.
two, if I may, Senator, and number two, is it your proposition that when the cartels spread disinformation with respect to our immigration policies to try to lure vulnerable migrants to our border illegally?
I think you've got no idea what disinformation is, and I don't think the government's capable of it. Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government. Are you familiar with McNamara, the Pentagon Papers? Are you familiar with George W. Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? Are you familiar with Iran-Contra? I mean, think of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country. We work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech.
Get
you
him!
think we can't determine, speech by traffickers is disinformation? You think the American people are so stupid they need you to tell them what the truth is? You can't even admit what the truth is with the Steele dossier. I don't trust government to figure out what the truth is. Government is largely disseminating disinformation. So I do have
He's
a question,
clearly
and here's the
frustrated.
question. So the Russians, maybe some cartels. What about COVID disinformation? Is that in your bailiwick for your disinformation governance board?
Senator, you would have to give me the details with.
Okay, here. I've said a million times that cloth masks don't work. YouTube takes me down. They're a private company. I can have that beef with them. What about you? You going to look at that? I often say that natural immunity from having had the infection is equal to the vaccine or better. You going to take that down?
Well, first of all,
those are very specific.
Senator, first of all, it's not for us to take it down. And second of all,
are you going to put information out there saying that I'm spreading disinformation?
Senator, we are not the public health experts to make those determinations.
But, okay, hang on. First off, Rand Paul is correct. The American people are not stupid. We find stuff out best through communication with one another, debating one another, looking at arguments, reading what we can, seeing the information out there as a whole, and coming to our own conclusions, especially in a free society where coming to your own conclusions is going to happen. And sometimes those conclusions aren't always going to be the best. I understand that. But you know what? Freedom and chaos are cousins. You're going to live with a little bit of danger in a free society. That's just the way it is. But the vast majority of people who witness these arguments and debates take place in a fair, on a level playing ground, are going to come out with the right conclusions. Mayorkas is sitting there saying, we need to help people come to the right conclusions. We do not need his help. We especially don't need help from a governmental body that can't even get it right all on its own. And Rand Paul is right. We have been wrong. When I say we, I mean the government has been wrong so many times. And especially now, when he was talking actual science with scientists and medical experts, Rand Paul was getting silenced by YouTube, who is taking its marching orders at the time from Fauci Anytime Fauci said anything, YouTube was like, yep, that's where we're going with. Fauci was wrong all the time. Constantly. Masks didn't work. They never did. They never stopped anything, despite the fact that they were forcing them on everybody, including children. They were not working. The virus was still spreading. The lockdowns did not work. The virus was still spreading. All of this stuff was not working. Rand Paul was out there saying this very thing constantly, and he was getting shut down and denounced not just by YouTube, but by government bodies, by people like Mayorkas. The same guy who is now saying, I'm going to tell you guys what the truth is. Dude, kick rocks, touch grass, get the hell out of here. No. You take your stupid ass Mary Poppins wannabe and get the hell out. I don't want you policing speech. You have no business doing it. I don't want you telling me what the truth is. You don't even know what it is.
So public health won't be part of the Disinformation Governance Board. No COVID disinformation. Yes or no?
Senator?
Yes or no? Is public health going to be part of your censorship group?
If somebody, allow me, because you're presenting hypotheticals that are vague and.
I just gave you a very specific one on cloth masks. I gave you a very specific one on immunity from previous infections.
I answered your question, but let me answer,
You didn't answer his question.
the last question that you posed. Do not, under any circumstances, accept a vaccine at a FEMA overseen vaccination center because they are actually peddling fentanyl. Now, should I sit back and take that?
Did anybody believe
or
that?
Should I actually
Did anybody believe
disseminate
that?
accurate information? That's what we would do. Should FEMA issue accurate information that the vaccinations that we are administering in the sites that we oversee actually are the COVID-19 vaccines?
I have a greater respect for the American people than you do. I think the American people can figure out the truth. And if you think the American people need to be told there's not fentanyl in the vaccination, feel free to say it. But the thing is if you are going to go around saying that you are the arbiter of information and of disinformation, I think you have no clue. And you don't have the perspective history knowing that disinformation, the largest progenitor of disinformation in our history has probably been the U.S. government.
I've never.
At that point in time, Mayorkas should have just been like, yep, you're right. You got me. You got me. We're out. Yeah, Becca, I never heard that either. I never once heard anyone go, they're putting fentanyl in the vaccine. I never heard that one time. And even if I did, my immediate reaction would have been, that's stupid. That's so stupid. I've gotten the vaccine myself. There wasn't fentanyl in there, bro. I would know. There's nothing in there. Trust me. No fentanyl, at least. I mean, it's stupid to think that, like, we would need someone like Mayorkas to go, this is false. You think, buddy? This is why I do not think, y'all, for one freaking second, that this is about issuing counterintelligence to the public like via social media. To counter stuff from Russia or the cartels. Not one bit do I think that. This has something else. And somebody brought up a second ago, you had Dictator Mary Poppins. Paul Harper, thank you so much for the subscription. You had Dictator Mary Poppins out here talking about how misgendering someone is a threat to our national security of some kind. Like, okay, so misgendering is now a threat. What do you do? It's like, well, they misgendered some guy, like his name is Chuck, but you know, he changed his name to Jessica. They're misgendering Jessica. Thanks. What do I care? And what are you going to say to me? Yes. What is the disinformation board going to say to me? Actually, yes. Men and women are interchangeable, and trans men are women. Okay, that's an opinion. That's not a truth. That's not that defies science and biology. Why should I believe you? They're putting fentanyl in the vaccines. Well, you know what? I think that Americans talking to each other are going to find out real fast that that's a lie. There's no reason for this to exist. And it makes me think that the reason that they want this to exist is not just to issue counter statements on social media. They're doing this because they know that a government program, once put into place, only grows. You can't get rid of it. It only grows. And I think at some point in time, Democrats are going to do it. They're going to slow walk it in, or at least as slow as they can, and they're going to put some teeth on it. They are going to go after not necessarily the citizen, the private citizen, because they don't want to touch 1A, at least not that blatantly, not yet. They're going to go after the social media companies, AT&T, any broadcast company or anything like that, and say that if you actually spread this misinformation, we're going to come after you and make your life harder, which, to be fair, or if we're being honest with ourselves, is just restriction of freedom of speech, and it's an attack on the First Amendment with extra steps. That's all it is. These people are liars. I don't believe Mayorkas. I don't trust Mayorkas. I don't trust dictator Mary Poppins. I do not think that they know for even 5 seconds what truth is, and they have been proven to be spreaders of mistruth themselves openly. They have been proven to be deniers of science openly. Up until just a few days ago, there was no such thing as women. Now all of a sudden there is, because of the abortion stuff. They can't decide for themselves what the truth is. They can't keep their own story straight. Why should I believe a government body that can't keep its own story straight? It makes absolutely no sense. What's up, Brett? How you doing, brother? LOL, not vaxxed or even tested, no plans either. And you know what? You're right as an American citizen. That is perfectly fine. Yeah, still alive. Yeah. Many people who didn't get touched by the vaccine and did get coronavirus are perfectly fine. We're perfectly fine. 98.8% of us are perfectly fine. Despite the fact that the government told us that the world was ending and the sky was falling, and and everyone who embraced DeSantis's way of doing things was in a death cult. By the way, congratulations on surviving the most threatening pandemic ever since the bubonic plague. You had a 98.8% chance of surviving. You really pulled it out. Congratulations. And honestly, if you were going to believe that FEMA was doing that, wouldn't they believe a government body saying LOL? Exactly. If a government body is doing it, then why the hell would a government? Whatever. With SCOTUS leak, trans thrown under the bus. Yep. Never heard. Oh, speaking of which, Amtrue, thank you for bringing that up. New video is on the Red State YouTube right now after this stream. Go watch it. There's also another one that was uploaded by Kira, who is not Mark Davis. Who asks a very interesting question that I actually wanted to bring up about the abortion argument. It's very well put. It's a very short video, but it's very poignant, and you should go watch it after this stream. Why do people own stock in Google and Facebook? Money. Where's Hunter's laptop? Things make you go, Exactly, the Hunter Biden laptop story. That was misinformation. It was all Russian disinformation. Oh, but no, wait, it's real. Government can't figure it out. Bottom line, none of these people care about free speech. This new board is just another avenue for the government to keep their narrative alive. Yep. It's all about narrative. All about narrative. Thank goodness for people like Paul and Louisiana Sen Kennedy who push back on these things. Funny you should mention Senator Kennedy because he also got some hits in here, and I haven't actually watched this yet, so you and I will be seeing this for the first time together, if you haven't already watched it. Kira's undercover YouTube name, not Mark Davis. Mark is awesome, though. Mark is pretty cool. I can verify Kira is not Mark. I've seen them in the same place. Yeah, ditto.
I am in awe
I love Kennedy.
of Ms. Jankowicz. I have watched her with slack-jawed astonishment. Who picked her?
Good question.
Senator Kennedy, it's nice to see you as well. The Department of Homeland Security selected Ms. Jankowicz.
Who at the department picked her?
Senator, we don't discuss our internal hiring processes, but I am the Secretary of Homeland Security, and ultimately I am responsible.
When the department picked her, did it know that she had said that Mr. Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation?
Senator, let me repeat myself and add one other fact. I was not aware of that. We do not discuss the internal hiring process. Ultimately, as the Secretary, I'm responsible for the decisions of the Department of Homeland Security.
When the department picked Ms. Jankowicz, did it know that she had vouched for the veracity of the Steele dossier?
Senator, let me repeat myself and add an additional fact. One, we do not discuss internal hiring
just
processes.
Answer the question.
Two, I was not aware of that fact. Three,
Okay, so now you're aware of this fact. Is she still qualified? Is she still going to have the job?
as the Secretary of Homeland Security, I am responsible for the decisions of the department, and it is my understanding that Ms. Jankowicz is a subject matter expert in the field in which she will be working on behalf of the department.
Yeah, I can tell.
I can tell. So what we just saw was dodge, 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 dip, dive, duck, and dodge. He didn't want to discuss how she was hired. He didn't want to discuss why she was hired. And despite the fact that it is clear that she doesn't even know what the truth is, and not only that she seems to be very guided by her ideological positioning, which is to the hardcore left, dictator Mary Poppins is still going to get the job.
When the department picked her, was the department aware of her TikTok videos?
Senator,
They're really quite precocious.
Senator,
if you say it loud enough, it almost sounds precocious.
I was not aware of those videos.
So he wasn't aware of the videos on TikTok that are there for the public to see. And yet she gets to have she gets to head up a government disinformation board. This is weird to me, and I'll tell you why. My brother Houston recently went in and filled out a big packet just to become a police officer in the city of Galveston, Texas. I have done the same, actually. I've filled out the same packet before. It gets about this big. The stack gets about his life, gets about this big by the time it arrives on the chief's desk for review. Everything about Houston is in this packet that's about this big. His social media presence, and he was asked to give us the names of your Twitter, your Facebook, everything. Doesn't matter what it is, we want it. Everything about Houston's background is in that packet. Everything that he had done, every job that he had had. Thomas Novak, thank you so much for the subscription. Everything is in that packet. You're going to sit here and tell me that this guy gave a woman a high place, a high seat on a government board that is supposed to control misinformation, and didn't know about her TikToks. I can't decide right now if I don't believe him or you know what? This is just the federal government, and yes, they are that incompetent. You're going to tell me that the chief of police in Galveston, Texas did more due diligence about the guy he is going to hire as a recruit patrolman than the government does for a board meant to police misinformation from out of the country and circulating within it. I don't know if I believe him or not. I'm leaning on I don't believe you. I actually think that maybe he actually did know about the TikToks. And in fact, that's one of the reasons that she was hired, because she's willing to do silly crap like that and spread whatever message and narrative the Democrat Party wants her to. This is nonsense. Mayorkas is a liar. 100%. He dipped, dived, ducked, dive, and dodged all of the questions that Kennedy just asked him. Except for, no, we didn't know, which doesn't make you look any better, bud. That actually makes you look way worse. You're part of a disinformation governance board and you didn't have information on the woman that you're going to hire that was very important to know? No. Nope. Don't believe her. Not him for half a second. I almost thought his answer was just on loop. Nope, this is how it actually went. Yeah. That's whenever they repeat that over and over again, I just you're trying to avoid something, and he definitely was trying to avoid something there. Mayorkas knew Mary Poppins' ideology. Why else was she elected for the job? Exactly, Badger. He had to have known. If he didn't know about the TikToks, I don't believe that. At the very least, maybe he didn't know about the TikToks, but knew 110% where her loyalties lie when it comes to party, when it comes to narrative, when it comes to ideology. Promised to pay her in whatever glue she was sniffing. Yeah, am true. It's hard to believe. Don't get me wrong, it's the federal government. They are incompetent. They are absolutely incompetent. But that seems a little strange. He has seen the videos. I would bet everything I own on it. I mean, it's kind of hard not to think that at some point in time that would have come up in the hiring process. But the question is good. Who hired her? Where did this chick come from? And not Mark Davis has a very good point here. I don't recall her being a presence anywhere. She never came up once. There are more videos of her singing and TikToking and all this stuff than there actually is of her doing government work. And I'm not saying she didn't do it. I just think it's very interesting that this woman just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And then once she appeared, it wasn't hard for we, the citizenry, to go in and find her background, her past videos, what she thinks about certain things, her dissertations. Like we the people did the investigating that apparently Mayorkas claims that he didn't do. Or his department didn't do. We don't know because he's not up to telling us about it. The hiring practices must remain a secret. Why? It's public office. It's public office for a very public position. I really feel like we should know. You're going to sit here and tell me that the American people did a lot more investigating of this woman, of dictator Mary Poppins, than they did before she hired her? No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Do not believe it. How does it?
Wandering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious.
Just like you. We found that. We did. Not Red State. I'm talking about the citizenry. I mean, good God, people. We found it. They didn't. I'm going to move on. I just want to say this one thing. We don't need big government. We don't need more government programs. We don't need government boards. We're good. We don't need big government. Big government is illogical. Look, America is a massive place. It's massive. And I wrote about this yesterday in an article on the VIP side. Promo code MORSE, MRSE, on discount on sign up. It really helps us out if you sign up, but it gives you access to content front pagers don't, just front pagers don't get. But I said this yesterday. Big government cannot rule over such a massive place like America. Not only is there all sorts of cultures and traditions that vary from state to state, there is all sorts of information that circulates between the people, which is a massive amount of people. And if they think that the federal government can just fix it all and dictate it all and give us a one-size-fits-all argument, is always on top of everything happening here, they are sadly mistaken. There's a reason that the founders were smart enough to say that the federal government needs to be as small as possible while the states rule themselves. It's because the states have their own cultures, their own people, traditions, customs, values. And in each of these states, we have information that we are privy to that another state might not be. And this runs the gambit from how you make pizza to how you worship a god. And all of these people are going to keep track of all of this information happening, circulating all at once. No, dude, no. We don't need this board. Not only do we not need this board because we can discuss these things for ourselves, but this board is completely out of its mind if it thinks that it can decide what is the truth and what isn't the truth. Because as we have seen, not only can they not decipher the truth for themselves via if it's COVID misinformation, if it's the Steele dossier or some sort of foreign intelligence, they can't decide it for themselves. But they can't even investigate their own people. This is why I think it's a power grab. It's not actually there to assist the American people. It's not. It's not there to help the American people. This is here to help a narrative. That's it. That's all it is. It is a narrative help for the Democrat Party. This needs to be rejected. Whole hog. Whole hog. By the way, everything that I just talked about is on redstate.com right now. Go check it out. And be sure to like the stream if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And subscribe. Storks dropped her off. But the question is good to her. Yeah. The storks dropped her off. Yeah. She flew in on an umbrella, guys. Actually, he was probably giving her name and told her to hire her, and that was all that knew and cared to know. He is full on party line because in the end, it doesn't matter. Who told him to hire her? Let me rephrase. I would bet the heavy arms on it. No, not the heavy arms. He could be that party line and just taking orders. He is on the southern border. They just don't care, and they don't have to tell the truth. So do anything, guys. Yeah. I mean, they're all in charge right now. They can pretty much do whatever they want within bounds of the Constitution. That pesky Constitution. And guaranteed, if this thing does try to get teeth, the Constitution's going to slap it down in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's going to slap it down with the Constitution, I should say. I agree with you there. They know exactly who she was, but it doesn't matter to them. I think that I kind of agree with Badger. I think that they knew who she was, and that's why she got hired. Fortune favors the bold. Buy Bitcoin. Does that matter to them with all they have done? I don't know. Yes, thank you. And the way it should be. States are working on it finally. States should be in charge, period. The founders understood that federal government doesn't work well. It's illogical. It can't keep up with all of the territory, the space, the people. It can't. There is no one-size-fits-all solution for America. There's just not. New York and Texas, radically different cultures. Radically. What works in New York isn't going to work in Texas. Yet you've got people out in a swampy corner of America who walk marbled halls that are constantly air conditioned, and they have helpers and all this stuff. They live radically different lives than you, and they are going to tell you, housewife in Boise, that the solution for you is the same that works for the blue collar worker out in Las Vegas. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. Everything should be up to the states. All right, I'm going to move on. What was Reagan's line? The scariest 9 words. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Yep. 100% accurate. Progressives are not having a good time. Let's just say that. A pro-abortion crowd not having a good time. It's very interesting to me, for one, that the Democrat Party has already abandoned the transgender community. We talked about that in the last episode. And currently that clip is up on Red State YouTube right now. You can go back and watch it. I guarantee you probably should after this. But also on the Red State YouTube is something that Kira Davis brought up, and I thought it was very interesting. And it was kind of backed up by this one clip that Red sent to me. And I want you to watch them both because it's a very interesting take about abortion that for some reason the left really does not want to talk about. And I'm just going to go ahead and let not Mark Davis say it.
You know, I find it really interesting that the left is using racism to defend abortion rights. They say that if SCOTUS rules against Roe, that minority women will be harmed the most. But let's compare statements, shall we? We need more black babies in the world, or we need fewer black babies in the world. You be the judge. Which one of those statements is racist?
So she brings up a very good point. If you actually look at the Planned Parenthoods around the United States, most of them are located in or around minority communities. More black babies are aborted in the United States than any other race. It's kind of fascinating that when this is brought up, the left suddenly changes gears. They like to say that without abortion, the black community will be hurt. It'll affect the black community for the worst. How? It's very interesting to me. And here's something that I thought was very interesting. Red gave this to me. And it's older. It's actually older. I think this happened a year ago, 2 years ago. If I'm not mistaken. I like the kneeling lady, like she's gonna really make a point here. So anyway, this guy comes up and all of these healthcare workers are protesting out in front of the hospital for abortion. And they're all heroes, pro-abortion healthcare workers. Because reproductive justice is healthcare, according to the left and these leftist doctors. But one man had a very simple question for them, and I thought it was very interesting, and I think that the question should be repeated, despite the fact that this is an older video. It's a very good question.
Lives matter, or just some black lives?
All black lives matter was the response. All black lives, keep that in mind.
Lives killed by black men matter, right?
Yeah.
Yes? The black babies killed in the abortions clinics matter, right? Thought so. The black officers killed by that bastard in Minnesota, that matters too, right? Okay. But the black babies that are killed in the abortion clinics don't matter, do they, medical people? Do their lives matter? Does the future of our black babies matter? Huh? What's up? What's up? Awful quiet now, aren't they? Uh-huh. It's okay if we kill them in the womb, right? But you have a problem when you don't seem to really have a problem when we kill them on the streets. Yes, well, we know they're the same issue. If we don't respect the lives of our unborn children enough to save them and fight for them, our lives mean nothing once we're born. Lives.
Oh, did you? When did the kneeling lady get up? When did she get up? When did she decide that it was over? That she shouldn't be kneeling in front of it. Like, there she is. There she is.
The black officers killed by that bastard The black babies killed in the abortions clinics matter, right? Thought so. The black officers killed by that bastard in Minnesota, that matters too, right?
Oh my God, that's brutal. Imagine being these doctors. They were so proud of themselves. They're just, she's kneeling in front of him with the sign. What does that sign say? It says, it's too blurry, I can't see it, but she was kneeling in front of him. She was taking a knee in front of him like some Black Lives Matter hero in the NFL. And you've got these people with the signs, all these masked up doctors in the back. They're here representing pro-abortionists, and they're so proud of what they do because they're here for women's rights. Do you care about black people? Yeah, we care about black people. Black lives matter. Okay. Yeah. Okay, but what about the black babies? I guess black lives only matter on the street. They don't matter in the womb. Seems a bit racist to me, wouldn't you say? I mean, if you're sitting there saying that we advocate for the death of black babies, without saying that you advocate for the death of black babies by actually supporting the people who focus on killing black babies, well then maybe the people who are actually racist in the room are the people killing black babies and supporting it. I'm throwing that out there. This dude just collapsed the entire Black Lives Matter movement and abortion arguments in one swipe. I'm sorry. There is a line that we can talk about where abortion becomes the answer. You know, whenever the baby's going to die slow, but it's going to die. Okay. Whenever the health of the mother is in question. When I say health, I mean like she's going to die. We can talk about that. But like the vast majority of abortions that are performed in the United States, and I'm talking about the vast majority, are done electively. If I remember correctly, there was let me see if I can't go back and find it. There was a little graph that actually kind of pointed out exactly what the like reasons for abortions that were performed. And very few times, like there was actually very few abortions that were performed for the reasons that the left says that they're being performed. You know how they always go on and on, like, well, what about the health of the mother? What about rape cases? All of these things were being thrown around. They're like the worst case scenario is constantly thrown around. But the fact of the matter is that many of these abortions were performed strictly for elective reasons, because the baby was inconvenient. And I think that's very interesting. Let me see if I can't find it here. It's a very good chart. I kind of wish I had thought to I wish I had kind of thought to do it or pull it up before the stream started, but I just now remembered it. If I can't find it, I can't find it, but it's out there. Nope. Okay. Well, anyway, it just showed it showed that the elective abortion was the by far most used reason for abortion, or to getting an abortion. I think that there are many cases, these extreme cases, where abortion should be considered. And we can have that conversation. Some people will agree, some people won't. That's okay. That's okay. I think Joe Rogan had a very good way of talking about it, and I think that he actually makes a very good point.
You know, it's just, I just don't like, I don't like people telling other people what they can and can't do, but it gets weird when the baby gets like 6 months old. It gets weird when they're really, really pregnant, because in some states, for the longest, I don't know what the rules are now, but I know that some states had late-term abortions, and sometimes you need one for medical reasons, right? Like the woman could die if she gives birth. Like it's a decision that people have to make.
Well, if you look back, what was your favorite part of being a fetus?
That's a dumb question. Just because you can't remember. being a fetus, you shouldn't have a right to life, or you should be, it's okay to kill you because you lack the memory or the ability to process information the same as an adult. But Joe Rogan's response here is amazing. He comes back with like a really good response.
Well, what was your favorite part of being 3?
Do you remember being 3? I don't. Do you remember being 2 or 1? I don't. But does that mean that I should be, that someone should be able to kill me just because I don't process information the same as your boy here?
You know, should I be able to shoot you at 3 because I don't want to take care of you anymore? It's one of those things. It's like I am 100% for a woman's right to choose. But as a human being, just a person observing things, there's a big difference between a little clump of cells and a fetus with an eyeball and a beating heart. And for anybody to pretend there's not, it's you're not doing any
But
argument.
where do you draw the line?
Right, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
That's the question. And it's what I call a human issue. It's a very complicated issue. It's so fraught with emotion, and it's so political.
That sound is my 8-week-old baby's heartbeat in the womb. It's got a heartbeat. It sounds very human heartbeat. Silencing that heartbeat as I'm not even technically a father yet. But the idea of that heartbeat being silenced because somebody just felt like it was inconvenient, the heartbeat like my child's, doesn't register with me. It seems so bizarro and out of this world. It almost seems inhuman. It seems very inhuman, actually. Not almost. It seems inhuman. Strange. I don't get it. This is not just a clump of cells. This is a beating heart. The abortion argument makes no sense. Only in certain cases does it even seem like it should be remotely permissible. Either the baby is going to die slowly once it's born, if it is born, because something is drastically wrong with it, or the mother is going to die. Those seem like two okay scenarios. But the rest of it seems a little strange. Rest of it seems a little strange to me. Why would you elect to kill a child? Why not improve what we have already on the existing foster care? And I'm not saying it's perfect. It absolutely does. I think that we should have adoption be a lot more prevalent in this nation. There should be a lot of people out there who are encouraged to adopt children. Programs. And I think that there should be a lot more in terms of like safety for these people. I think, constant checkups and there needs to be quite a bit of oversight, in my opinion, for the foster care program. But I know 2 foster boys. I know the lady who fosters them. And the life that they lived is awesome. And thank God, like when she got these boys, they were terrified if she would even raise her hand to grab cereal off the top of the refrigerator, because that's the kind of environment that they were brought up in. And I understand that, that's different from abortion, but I mean, like, foster care gives the chance at a better life. It gives a chance at someone becoming a full functioning adult and contributing to society. And you never know when one of those people is going to grow up to be someone who makes a huge difference, not just in the world, but in someone else's life, not just the foster mother. Abortion doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's murder. Period. I remember when I was 4, my next birthday. Oh, did you post it? Yep, this is it. This is it. Red found it. Okay. This right here is what I was looking for. Let's take a look here. Why do abortions occur? In 2004, the Guttmacher Institute anonymously surveyed 1,209 post-abortive women from 9 different abortion clinics across the country. Of the women surveyed, 957 provided a main reason for having an abortion. This table lists each reason and the percentage of respondents who chose it. Less than 0.5% did it because they were a victim of rape, which is constantly brought up. Well, what if they're a victim of rape? Well, that actually is very, 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 very rare. 0.5, less than 0.5% rare, in fact. 3% said fetal health problems. Okay. 4% physical health problems. Okay. 4% world would interfere with education or career. 7% not mature enough to raise a child. I feel like this is still elective. Both of these are still elective. 8% don't want to be a single mother. Still elective. Done having children, also elective. Can't afford a baby, elective. Not ready for a child, elective. 6% other. Most of the time, these 3 right here are just elective. They just kind of prefer not to at the moment. Reasons for abortion in Florida: 0.001% because it was incest, 0.07 life and health, 0.08 rape, 0.7 fetal abnormality, other. I had 98.6. This other column is, in my honest opinion, probably constitutes a lot of the elective reasons. A lot of the times that they say that it's because of a tragedy. It's because, what about these worst case scenarios? It's like, well, these happen so freaking rarely. They don't ever say that. They don't ever say that. It's the whale probe. John, yes, we are all clumps of cells, actually. That's technically what we are. We're just clumps of cells with a heartbeat and brain activity. Thank you, Becca. Aunt Smoozy's feeling a bit verklempt. Aw. Thank you, guys. Adoption has a lot of regulations, courtesy of the government. They had tried making a Catholic adoption center adopt to a gay couple. Didn't work, but they tried. I think there are various institutions out there that, if they want to allow a gay couple to adopt a baby, then fine. I have nothing against that, actually. You do what you do. I've known a lot of gay couples, and I think that they would make excellent parents. But I think that there are things out there that make me believe that adoption is just the best way to go. And I think that there was a Mark Wahlberg movie that really kind of made me realize how important adoption was. What's that Mark Wahlberg adoption movie? What is it called? It was very good. You guys should go watch it. Instant Family. If you get the chance to go watch Instant Family, it's so good. Go watch it. Mark Wahlberg he plays an excellent dad in this, and it's about a husband and wife who decide to adopt a brother's. I think it's a boy, a girl, and an older sister, and it's. They start off with this clean house and they're very, almost kind of selfish and whatnot. And then they end up by the end of it just being like, I hate not being a mother and father. I hate it. I want these kids. And it's pretty crazy. It's a really great movie. Very heartwarming. Go watch it. Seriously. The second image here is the more commonly propagated. That's a great sample size. 957, yeah. cells and spaces between them. What's up, Letitia Morgan? That was a great movie. Instant Family is awesome. I know it was. Yeah, go watch it tonight or this weekend at some point in time. Go rent Instant Family. It'll bring a tear to your eye. No joke. I'd never heard this movie. Thanks. You're very welcome. Real fast, I kind of wanted to talk about this before the end of stream. I'm going to go a little bit over because I think this is I think this is a great point. Sony's rejection of Chinese censorship proves kicking the communists and wokeness to the curb equals success. For those of you who haven't gone out and seen Spider-Man No Way Home, go watch it after Instant Family. Go watch it. It was a Sony Marvel production. And you know me, I'm all about going and watching stuff that is actually good, even if it's made by a company that is not doing so hot right now. Disney is definitely not doing so hot right now. They are one of the most evil corporations there is, but I am always about, because corporations are massive at this point, and I think that micro boycotts are very good because it shows that company what we want and what we don't want. You know, we don't want to watch Mulan. We don't want that. But we do want stuff like this. Spider-Man No Way Home was a Sony production that Marvel was obviously involved in. And from what I understand, I've heard rumors that Disney wanted to inject wokeness into it. Sony wouldn't let them. Apparently, China also was saying that Sony needs to censor Spider-Man No Way Home. Apparently, the in-fight scene, I'm going to spoil it a little bit for those of you who haven't seen it. There's an in-fight scene at the Statue of Liberty, and they are retrofitting the Statue of Liberty to have Captain America's shield. A little too patriotic for China. They didn't like that. They did not like that at all. They didn't like all that America in the movie. And so they said, all right, Sony, if you want this to be played in Chinese markets, you got to take that out. You got to reshoot the scene somewhere else because we're not going to have this. Sony said, no, kick rocks. It is as it is. So China came back and they were like, okay, well, can you at least darken it so that you can't tell that it's the Statue of Liberty or make some changes to make it a little less patriotic? Sony said, nope. Take it or leave it. So China said, we're going to leave it. Sony said, okay, don't care. So here we have a rumor that Sony rejected wokeness, woke pressure from Disney. They rejected censorship from China. And because they did that, they came out with a movie that was actually good. Spider-Man No Way Home might be one of the best superhero movies, personally, in my opinion, that I have ever seen. It had everything. Everything. It had great acting, a great storyline. It had deep moments. High action. It had everything. You know what it didn't have? Wokeness. I could watch that movie over and over and over again. And it didn't, and this is what happens when you turn your back on all of the pressure that people are trying to force on you to carry their message. And I have to hand it to Sony. I don't say this very often because Sony doesn't make a lot of good movies. They really actually don't. They're super. Did you see Morbius? Or no, that was Disney. Was that Disney Marvel? No. I think Sony owns Morbius. Sony owns Venom. They're okay movies. Venom was okay, in my honest opinion, which sucks because I love Venom. Their movies suck, sadly. But whenever Disney and Marvel get together, they actually they come up with something relatively decent. And apparently Sony will not let wokeness seep into the movies that they create, which I think is really cool. They apparently also won't let China kick them around, and it was one of the best movies that there was. And we have so much right now in terms of companies caving to one form or another, some sort of censorship. Whether it's wokeness or Chinese pressure, they come out and they create horrible, politically driven things. And you can see that currently in Amazon's Wheel of Time. You can see it, and I'm pretty sure we are going to get a double barrel of it in Amazon's Lord of the Rings. Paramount Plus's Halo is absolute garbage. It's woke garbage. Netflix had Cowboy Bebop, injected wokeness into Cowboy Bebop, and it was canceled after 3 weeks. What would have happened if they hadn't injected wokeness into it and just focused on a good story that they know that the fans would like? There is a man, he's a director. His name is Stephen Ford. And he is also very upset about the way that they did Halo. They did Halo dirty. And he said he's going to make a lore-accurate Halo film following the atrocious audience scores for Paramount Plus's live-action series. I am 110% on board with it, even if it's obviously going to be very low budget. But, it's not going to have all the flash. It's not going to have all the pomp and circumstance of like this big budget, production that Amazon can do or Paramount Plus can do. It's not going to have that. It's probably going to be much lower budget, but you know what? I'll probably still enjoy it a lot more. Because here's the thing. If you put a big, huge production budget behind a piece of crap, it's still a piece of crap. It's like painting over rust. Yes, it's very vibrant, but you can still tell that underneath it's completely demolished. It's rusty crap. It's about ready to fall apart at any moment. And that is what happens to almost every single thing that wokeness touches. So hats off to Sony for what they did. And I hope that they continue to do it more. I hope that they actually, I want them to write better scripts, obviously. Their movies are kind of garbage. But you know what? I would much rather have that garbage than whatever Disney's popping out by themselves. Eternals, good. Yeah, exactly. Eternals was awful. Just saw Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Pretty good Sony movie. It was decent. I thought the original Venom was a little better. Japan flying the double barrel third finger to China. Dude, I keep saying this. If you really want good media right now, America is not making it. It's just not. Japan is. Japan's making some amazing stuff. Tell me a good story. If I want to be preached at, I'll go to church on Sunday and listen to my pastor. At least I like him. Exactly. I like that, Letitia. I lived in Yokosuka, Japan for 5 years. Great country. I want to go to Japan so bad. How's Doctor Strange 2? I will let you know. Morbius was Sony. It wasn't very good. Yeah, apparently that was that was hot garbage. That was a garbage barrel on fire. Morbius was so bad. Sony by itself does not make good movies, but at least they reject the wokeness. I haven't seen Doctor Strange 2 yet. We're going to go see it this Sunday, actually. Daily Caller is making movies now, too. Yeah. Yep. I cannot wait to see Terror on the Prairie, letting my Amazon subscription expire this July. See, I can't do that. My wife would not appreciate that. Also, anything that John Krasinski's in, I'm automatically in. And he is the best Jack Ryan. 100%. Best Jack Ryan. Not even a question. Eternals, you know what, Andrew? I was like, I'm not going to go see Eternals. It looks horrible. It looks bad. Just the trailer itself looked like dog water. I didn't want it. I'm not gonna invest my time, waste my time, pay money to see this. And according to every single reviewer that I trust, it was absolute woke garbage. Do you mean that you got hit by YouTube's chat censor? I'm so confused. What happened? Dude, YouTube will censor the crap out of YouTube. Nope, I wondered if you could email me the link. I missed it. If you can't, what's the name of the polling company of the group that did it? I'll find it. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Stephen Ford, he makes short films. He did one for Ghost of Tsushima. He's apparently going to do one for Halo. I'm so ready for it. And I hope that he actually makes and here's what I hope he does. I hope that Stephen Ford does this, and he's so successful to the point where even major studios take notice and go, crap, we messed up. We should have just been doing what this guy wanted to do this entire time. You should have stayed loyal. We should have stayed loyal to the fans, and they should have stayed loyal to the fans. It is illogical to create a show based around a property that already has a massive fandom and then tell that fandom, hey, you guys are getting kicked to the side because we're going to write our own story. It makes no sense. You're going to slap your name on something like the Wheel of Time and then tell fans, we're not actually going to follow the logic of the world or the guidelines for the story you know and love. We're changing stuff so that it just kind of fits modern era, where it's going to carry the message. That's pretty much what we're going to do, and you're going to like it. Okay, but you just pissed off the fandom, the people that were going to come and watch this. Why should they come and watch it now? You just lost the base for that show. It's what happened at Cowboy Bebop, and it got canceled after 3 weeks. It's happening right now to Halo. People are not watching Halo. They're rejecting it. But here's the funny part. Even the stuff that was made for the woke crowd is also being rejected. Batwoman is gone. It's canceled. I think most of the Arrowverse shows have pretty much gone under at this point in time, haven't they? Like, no one's really watching them. Because they're woke garbage. Maybe Elon Musk should buy the CW. Just put all this like, dude, oh my God. Elon Musk should buy the CW. And then he should start producing, or like having companies or directors like Stephen Ford actually produce stuff that people will watch. And guaranteed, the CW will become one of the most watched networks on TV. Wheel of Time sucked, and I read all the books. I'm currently reading the books, and they're very good. I'm becoming a fan of the Wheel of Time very slowly. And, well, I shouldn't even say slowly. I'm pretty much there. I really enjoy the world that this guy built. And I absolutely refuse to watch the Amazon Wheel of Time. Flash is still guaranteed that's gonna not survive either. I love people like the Safdie brothers who really don't care and just make the movies they want. So great, yeah. If you're a director or producer and you don't listen to the woke garbage, you know, one of the things that I really appreciate, and you guys might disagree with me on this, I'm a big fan of James Gunn. Big fan of James Gunn. Many of you are angry with him for the pedophile jokes. I have to reiterate that they're just jokes. He was a guy who was really into shock humor for a while. He did it just to get a reaction out of people. I've known many people like that. Many of them they're good-natured guys. They just say things because they know it'll get a rise. And I think that's what James Gunn did. James Gunn does not cave to woke pressure. And I really appreciate him for that. And especially recently when people started coming after Chris Pratt not for absolutely no reason. He's a Christian. That's why they came after him. James Gunn consistently steps in front of Chris Pratt and tells all these woke idiots to F off effectively. That last time they were sitting there saying, we need to replace Chris Pratt. We need to replace Chris Pratt. And James Gunn said, for what? So that you guys can just, have your jollies because over something that is not even true. Because they constantly accuse Chris Pratt of being anti-LGBT, and he's not. He's the nicest guy in Hollywood. James Gunn is an atheist, but he defends Chris Pratt whenever he tells people, like, hey, pray for this, pray for that. It's I gotta have respect for directors that do that. Especially in this day and age. Now, given it's a lot better, but like a couple years ago, it was a lot worse, and he was still out there standing in front of the woke crowd, telling them to F off. Good for him. Disney and Rick Riordan have gone the way of representation for Percy Jackson. I heard that. I'm a book purist, so I'm pissed. Rick showed me the story you're told. I heard about the Percy Jackson cave to wokeness, and it'll fail, and it should fail. Jokes are jokes. Chappelle just got tackled on stage. You know what, dude? I think it's funny. Honest to God, I think it's funny that this guy decided he wanted to get I'm given we don't know yet. We don't know what his deal was yet, but I think the fact that they haven't told us yet. The fact that they haven't told us yet why he tackled Dave Chappelle tells me everything about why he tackled Dave Chappelle. But it also goes to show you, just a little bit, goes to show you that the people who are really actually promoting violence against other people aren't the comedians. It's the people who are consistently trying to cancel the comedians, talk about how these comedians, movies, directors, whatever, online personalities, YouTubers, all these people trying to equate their opinions, their non-woke opinions, their wrong think with violence, and warning that, oh, well, anything that comes out of their mouth is immediately going to endanger the trans community, the LGBT community, the black community, this community, that community. Doesn't matter what community it is, so long as it falls under the Democrat umbrella of protection. Any kind of disagreement is going to automatically be associated with violence. And therefore, all these people are going to get scared. They're going to get angry. They're going to get rageful. And then you have people trying to tackle Dave Chappelle on stage while holding a knife and a fake gun. What did they think that... And they had the View had the gumption to blame it on Trump, which I thought was just hilarious. Sonny Hostin and Joy Behar blamed the guy who tackled Dave Chappelle on stage on Trump. You got to have some sort of wire loose in your head to think that you can just reach back and drag Trump back into it. Come on. Give me a break. James Gunn did the Guardian films. Yeah, he also did the latest. I thought it was pretty good, actually. I did like it. He did the latest Suicide Squad, which then introduced Peacemaker, which is a good show. It just is. Chris Pratt is cool, and he is a nice guy. Yeah. One of the sweetest guys in Hollywood, according to everyone who knows him, and yet people want to cancel him for being a Christian. That's really what it boils down to. Great show today, Brandon. Thanks for talking about my story. You are welcome. You are more than welcome. Thank you for writing such good stories. Guys, everything that I've just talked about today, with the exception of the Stephen Ford thing, is up at redstate.com. Go visit it right now. Also, go to the Red State YouTube and watch the 2 videos we just uploaded. One this morning, one just yesterday. Go watch them for yourself. Please give everything a like. It really helps us out. And subscribe if you haven't already. Join with the VIP VIP program on Red State. If you would, you can use promo code Morse on sign up, MRSE. Give you a discount. And I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend. Much love to all of you. Keep a smile on your face. We're winning. I'll see you later. Peace.